Have you ever felt like everyone around you is more muscular and leaner than you are? Well, you're not the only one, but I think in a way we're being cheated by what we're seeing. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how that's done. In my last project, I talked about how it was surprising for me that I was still able to put on muscle and burn fat while fasting. In order to highlight this point, I took a thumbnail of myself and made myself look as ripped and muscular as possible. However, I've got a bachelor's in video engineering, and also I worked in the industry until very recently, so I know when photo manipulation is happening. But for the average guy who wants to work out and be fit, they probably don't know how it's done. And it's not just me, it's the entire fitness industry, doctors' images, to encourage a certain point of view. I get that. And sometimes even I forget that this manipulation happens, and I start comparing myself to others, which usually brings me down. But I'm guilty of setting up smoke and mirrors myself. So I hope to set that right by showing you how to cheat so that you know when you're being cheated. Okay, to do this we're gonna need three things: camera, lights, and a photo editing software. Don't worry if you don't have any of these at home, because I'm gonna show you how you can do this with stuff you have at home. Okay, let's go. Hold on, big guy, not just yet. We need to get a pump on first. Remember, the idea is that we're showing off a most exaggerated version of ourselves, not really the day in the life. Okay, glad to see you're back. The first thing we want to do is take an image with a camera. When it comes to the camera, it doesn't matter so much, but the lens has a really big impact. You're going to want to pick as wide-angle lens as possible. This is because the wide angle distorts the image, which actually in this case is desirable for us. If you don't have a wide-angle lens, your smartphone's lens is very wide, so you can definitely use that. The reason why picking a wide-angle lens is important is because we're going to position the camera lower than the normal height you normally take photos with, which is eye level. You're going to want to position it lower to the height of the muscle which you want to accentuate. So for most people, that's probably the chest. You know, when you see a skyscraper in the distance, it looks small, but in reality, you know it's big. It's just really far away from you. Well, that's what we're doing with our height adjustment here. Whatever in the frame is closest to the lens is going to appear biggest in comparison to the other parts of the frame. It's subtle, but it's powerful. Take a quick Google search on the word bodybuilder, for example, and you're gonna see that actually hardly any of them are shot at eye level. Chest height, crotch height, chest height, belly height, nipples, ab height, feet height, crotch height, chest height. So yeah, whatever's closest is gonna appear the biggest. The second thing we're gonna wanna do is we need some light. This is where things get interesting and you're gonna see a really big impact. You're gonna wanna position the light as overhead as possible and blast it at full power. The reason going overhead is important is because it's going to create shadows along your chest and your abs. And the difference between the shadows and the part of your body is going to, create contrast there, which is gonna look impressive and big. The second part when it comes to the light is you're gonna wanna position it at a 90-degree angle between the camera and the subject, which in this case is yourself. The reason this works is because it's gonna create the most amount of shadows along your body, which is something that you want to create this contrast. Once you have a pose you like, open it in your favorite photo editing software. Hey, I've got Photoshop open here. You can actually use free tools online to do this, but the reason I'm using Photoshop is it's a bit more responsive and I just want to prove the point a little bit easier. The only two sliders we're really going to worry about is blacks And what the blacks does is it's going to darken any dark parts of the image. And the other one we want to worry about is clarity. Without getting too technical, clarity is going to make the shapes of the image more pronounced, which in this case it's the body. We don't want to go too hard because then it looks a bit fake, so I'm gonna dial it back down a little bit where it can be reasonably plausible. If you want to go an extra step, making it black and white always looks nice because once the eye has no colors to focus on, it focuses on the shape, which makes them more pronounced, but that's not for everybody. And there you go, before and after. Now we just did this at home. Imagine what movies and magazine covers can do. I think the reason we admire those with impressive physiques is because it's a sign of health. But it isn't health itself, it's just one element of many, such as your diet and how you're sleeping and your mood and how stressed you are. Health is composed by many things which you can't judge just by looking at someone alone. And if we could, like I just showed you, appearances can be deceiving. Up till this point, the thing that was driving me towards exercising was to be big. And a turning point for me was to accept that maybe being big and health are not exactly totally aligned with each other. But what I actually learned from making this video is I need to recalibrate my idea of, instead of trying to be big, but actually aiming for health. And as part of that, I need to be okay with not being the biggest guy in the room. The idea of showing you how images are manipulated was to free you from comparing yourself to others, because you might be comparing other people's highlight reel with your day-to-day. I think what's left for us to do now is to create our own definition of what it means to be healthy outside of just being muscular alone. So if you have any suggestions for that, do let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. I haven't even begun showing you guys what you can do in Photoshop. So we make the chest a little bit bigger. Yeah, the shoulders, why not? Make the hips a little narrower, you know. Yeah, fix the head a little bit. Fix the head a little bit. And there you go, before and after. There you go, I'm ripped!